than just one reason an artist will even make any type of music. It could range from a complete. It could vary from a whole bunch of reasons, but attention, we know from history that if you do this, there's a chance that you will get looked at, and that is not ignored from anybody. If you do any type of art, that is, I think it goes for that as well. No matter what, music, physical art, spoken word poetry, if you do this, your art is going to get showed off by people. So the notion that, oh, I don't want attention, I don't do this for the fame, it's a lie.
Well, it's
it could
it's the attention economy, right? Like, it's an entire social economy. By the way, Isaiah, thank you for the excellent introductory philosophy class. Holy shit! Welcome to the Untitled, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's appreciated.
Really hoping you was recording that, because I was like, hold on,
like halfway through, I was like, I'm gonna hit record on this shit. Like,
yeah, I'm all about being introspective and about the creative process of things. I'm always in my head 100% of the time.
Well, you found a podcast, so that's good. Guys, we got a cool ass guest here today. Friend of the show, and would you say like aspiring artist, or like are you out there? You putting out your music now?
Aspiring. I've got music done, but it just needs the send button, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay. So cool. So like aspiring artist Isaiah, you want to introduce yourself? Maybe tell us for sure. Like your empath. Is that what you go by? Is like you just like say it that way?
Yeah. So my artist name or my stage name is Empath, with a 3 specifically. I've got 3 different eras of music that I've come to evolve from, and I feel like empathy is the thing that I've stuck with for basically my whole life. So Empath was definitely a no-brainer for me. I met these guys through the job. We don't similar. Yeah, no, for sure.
We try not to
just
say the name.
The job, just the job. Met these guys and they were cool. We all had an interest in music. I myself am a connoisseur of hip hop ish. I wouldn't say early hip hop. I definitely would say now. Mainstream, underground for a little bit. I delve into more than just hip hop. EDM, electronica, dubstep, shit like that. I'm everywhere, man. Yeah, Pretty much everywhere besides country.
Yeah, I mean, I think like we all have like interests that fall outside of the scope of this podcast.
Right. It's a general.
Field. like I have a whole history with like punk and metal and shit. So like, it's all copacetic. I don't really like EDM though. That's white people shit. Like,
it's a good mosh.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta let that out.
Sometimes you gotta let that out. I mean, I get down to some house music, but like too many bass drops, and I'm like, well played, crackers.
Yeah,
well played.
It's a headbanger for sure.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to have you on.
Good experience.
What happened?
We're happy to have you on.
Thank you for having me. It's I've been listening for a little bit. I like the conversation you guys have, so I'm excited to have this one today.
Yeah, thank you. We are including you in on the phone call. That's literally all this is, really, when you think about it.
Hey, it's a conversation.
Yeah.
I was about to say, because like low key, I feel like I saw you once when I went up there to the job before it closed down. But like besides that, I feel like we haven't sat down and had a conversation in like months now. And there's so much to catch up on.
Yeah,
for sure.
I feel like you're gonna bring a lot to the table.
Yeah, man. Because like, I'm interested in your perspective on this. Because like, you're like in the trenches of it though. Like, because you're living in the culture now. Like, you were just at what was that fucking the Lyrical Lemonade Festival?
Yeah, Summer Smash. I was at Summer Smash.
Like, you're like living it. Like, you're where me and Purvis. Like, when I was your age, like that's. I would describe myself the same way. Like, I like hip hop. I really wasn't as into the classics. I was maybe a little bit older than you when I started really getting into like the classics, like 80s and 90s.
I think when it first started for me was, man, it might have been 2014 where hip hop really started to like get into my ears and like be prevalent in my life. And then time skip to 2017 where it started to register the like, oh, I kind of want to do this. Like I kind of want to try this out, just be more a part of the culture. Fast forward to this day, I'm going to Summer Smash, having a fucking blast all 3 days. It's chaos every second, moshes everywhere, just a whole bunch of culture, like really in, like you said, I'm in the midst of it, and especially in youth, like a lot of, and it could be ranging from young to old. I saw everybody over there, bro. It was a little weird. I'm not gonna lie. It was a little weird seeing the range of of hip hop music, or not even just that, but the music that they
fans?
showcased over there. Yeah, just the fans of music. It was really really refreshing to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I love how like the music can bring like a lot of different types of people together. That was in Douglas Park, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. I go to the Riot Fest, the punk festival is in Douglas Park. I go every year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And like talk about like a wide crowd. Like you got people going there like you have everything from like fucked up 18-year-olds to like people bringing their families to like people getting
Yeah, I saw a lot of
literally
that.
married. Like it's like
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody in there.
It
I
was
gotta ask.
crazy.
Yeah, I was about to say because like I need to hear your opinion on top 3 performances because I'm
Yeah.
very jealous. I
Oh
did
Yeah, I
not know
gotta
you.
hear that.
God.
Yeah, I would have liked to
Okay.
have gone.
Man. Okay, so I can't even really give it in order. It was, like I said, it was a lot of chaos. Um I kind of want to start from the first day. I would say I won't give it a like top performer. I'll say I'll start from the days. The top performer of the first day definitely was, I believe that was Uzi.
Ooh.
Uzi was the first day, and it was, man, that the way he came out, we had to wait in the crowd for a little bit, but he came out, iconic hairstyle, iconic look.
Yeah, he
If
had
you,
the
if you guys
spikes,
saw the
right?
video, yeah, he had the spikes. I don't know if he had chains. I think he got a tattoo covering. So he was looking pretty different. He was looking crazy. Everybody was going crazy. The music was amazing. Um, the energy was something that I will never forget, man. Like, I've never personally, before this, I've never been to an Uzi show. I've seen them. I
Okay.
know how crazy they got, but when I was in it, it's something completely different, man. Like, the people that are in there, the energy is all different. You don't know
Yeah.
who's hostile, who's not, but they cared. Like, whoever it was, they cared. If people were struggling, we cared, got out the way. All right, cool. Keep moshing. You're good. Everybody's good. Even Uzi checked up on us. Hey, y'all good? Y'all need some water? Cool. Let's keep going. Like, the energy was just amazing from the first day. And I think on an earlier stage, Cole Bennett said the chance of this happening was slim to none, because I think it was some rain problems that they had prior to. Um, but yeah, first day was amazing. Second day, I believe the headliner was Post Malone, but I did not go to that headliner.
Okay.
I don't blame you.
I honestly, the second day from the first day was just a lot of energy. Um, and the second day, I think Ski Mask played, if I'm not
Damn.
wrong.
Ooh, I like Ski
Okay.
Mask.
I had to see specifically when the second day was. But in any case, Ski Mask came up. Third or second day, Ski Mask came up,
Yeah.
played his set with Triple X. He brought out
Oh,
Cochise as a special guest. It
Oh,
was
shit.
that energy. I think after that set, after Ski Mask set, I was dead tired. I think I wanted to leave like
Yeah.
after that. I think that
about to
was
say
when I
that's a
left.
workout.
Yeah.
That's another
Yeah, it
I
workout.
feel that.
was oh man, it was crazy. Brought out Oliver Tree. It was calm at some points, but just after that day, done. The third day, honestly, I can't even remember that day because that was the day that Playboy Cardi played.
Oh, it's a wrap. I already know.
And that show, I only saw his concert of Lollapalooza. Was that? What was his last concert that he played?
I think it was Lava
Was that
last year.
Lollapalooza?
Yeah.
It could have been, yeah.
I saw that one, and I was just in awe of how the crowd was. And when I was in there, like I said for the Uzi set, it was insanity. But it was like it didn't stop. Like with Uzi's set, he made sure you were good. With Cardi, the only time that we really got a break was when he told the crowd to step back. That was the only time we got our break.
I'm about to say, and
And
even still, him telling you to step back is just to create a mosh pit. It's just going right back
right,
into it.
right. The next song would play, and we would walk back 10 steps further than when we walked back. So it was insanity. I think I by then I think everybody was in pain, rightfully so, and that was definitely the highlight. I can't remember anything else from that day. Regardless, I think my friend got his phone stolen.
God, bro.
Yeah,
That's
it
tough.
was yeah. A lot of people. We saw people faint. There was multiple times where I had to like help some people up from fainting because they were about to KO, and it was man that
Bro,
it
like
unforgettable.
that's the crazy thing because like I'm not even gonna lie. I have like this list of like dream people I need to see like before I die. I need to see a live performance. And Cardi has always jumped on and off because like I really want to see him live just to experience how crazy it is. But
Yeah.
like I know if I get in that mosh pit and I get a bad knee, I'm gonna start swinging on somebody.
Oh yeah, no.
Like for
And
real.
you can't move in those types of instances. Like especially if you're trying to get in the front with other people of yours, everybody else has that same idea. So you're packed in there like sardines. Your hands are only going up or they're staying down. Like you can't move at all. But
All
10
right.
out of 10, 10 out of 10 experience for sure.
That's great. That's
I'm
great.
not
I
gonna
mean,
miss it next time.
I'll keep an eye on it. I'll see if it comes around next year. If it does, I'll probably go if I like people who are there. Purvis,
Yes, sir.
let's run down the news.
I was gonna say, should we actually start the podcast? No.
No, I thought getting a rundown of Summerfest or whatever that was.
No, that was wild.
Yeah, no, I thought that was fucking great. It's like having an inside reporter on the job.
Gotta be in the know.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, it's a light week, which
It's
is
a
probably
light
good.
week in news. Another reason why we wanted to have Isaiah on, we thought like talking to you about like your music, your creative process, how you're approaching it. Like we thought that would probably be more interesting than most of the news, but we gotta cover what's here.
Yeah. I mean, I'll make it real straightforward. There's no like full albums coming out, but there is a deluxe coming out. Earth Game's coming out with Ghetto Gods Deluxe.
Ooh.
That
Love
I
that,
am
yeah.
actually very, very excited for.
It's been about a month since I've heard Ghetto Gods. I could go back. Like
No, yeah, and it's one of those albums that like low-key, not that like I slept on it because I know how good it was and I appreciated it in the moment, but like I feel like his replayability, if that's even a word, kind of fell off for me.
it definitely got drowned out by other
Right.
by
It's just
other
so much.
releases,
But what is dope, because we are a big fan of them, but another thing that I wanted to point out specifically for this one, the new track list that they're coming out with is going to feature Wiz Khalifa and Currency is on the song together. Smino is on the song together, which I'm going to go crazy about.
I
Love
love
Smino.
that. Who doesn't love
Crazy.
Smino?
And then
Smino's
there's
great,
like
man.
2 remixes coming out with 2 people I don't even know, to be honest, but I'm interested to find out who they are. One of them's like Blackie, but it's an X instead of the A. And then someone like Avatar Benji, but I don't know. I'm excited to look into it.
Yeah,
But,
no, that's an instant listen for me.
Yeah. Like after this podcast, I'm probably because it's gonna be. You don't have to re-listen to all of it. You can just listen to the new songs.
Yeah,
Short and simple.
I'll probably re-listen to all of it.
Definitely slept on it at first until Dreamville started showcasing Earth Gang, and it's been a trip.
It's funny because like just mentioning Dreamville, they came out with a whole album basically this year, and I forgot about that. So
Yeah,
their team is fantastic. The tape they did with Drama,
the drama tape was fun.
Yeah. Cemented.
Yeah.
That album was fantastic. Still listening to this day.
It's funny because like as soon as you hear the name like DJ Drama, like it's gonna be
it's a big deal.
Like,
yeah,
it's a classic.
Especially
You
going
hear
back.
that? You hear the ad libs.
Yeah.
Man. He just be, it's funny because he legit just be talking about random shit like throughout the song. But it works. It works.
DJ Drama. We're gonna talk about our feelings tonight. Like,
no, legit. It's
you
funny.
know, it happens on Earth, stays on Earth. Like,
literally,
on
the
a
song
boat.
he had with Ari Lennox, he literally just started talking, just like, ain't nothing else to be said. I'm like, bro.
He said, "Welcome to the stage. Welcome to the stage, Miss Ari
doors
Lennox."
they can open, but they also close.
I don't know how you
That's
come up with
crazy.
it, but it works. It works. But some more stuff coming out for the news. The rest are just singles.
Yeah.
Ray Vaughn signed to TDE, dropping the music video Mannequin. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah.
We've been talking about TDE for I don't know how many weeks now. Somebody needs to drop some shit.
Yeah.
Playboy Cardi is dropping Hot Shit featuring Kanye and Lil Durk. I think that's gonna be the highlight of the week.
Yeah.
Did you get Playboy Cardi?
No. Cardi B.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm about to say I need to definitely make it very clear who I'm talking about.
I was confused.
Two very different people.
Yeah. Or are they?
No, two very different people.
Have you ever seen them in the same room?
Probably.
I don't know. The Cardi that I saw was I don't know.
That man was some other stuff.
I don't know if that was Cardi.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not even finna open up. Shut up, y'all. And then Joey Badass finally dropping a single, even though he delayed the album, but he's dropping Where I Belong. I don't know.
Can you blame him?
Like,
can you it realistically? If and this is crazy, if somebody, man, I really don't want to say it. If somebody with more of I'll say more of an impact. If somebody more than an impact or with a bigger impact than you will drop, you have two options. Drop because more people will go to it, or recognize that it's probably going to be big enough to swallow up anything that's going to be with it and just move out the way.
Wait. So are we talking about Drakeanon right now?
Yes. So
because I don't think that's real. Like, I think that's something a lot of people are projecting onto this album, but I don't think that's true. I thought that I have yet to see any evidence that Joey Badass actually delayed his album because of Drake. I thought it was a sample clearance issue.
I mean, the thing is, obviously, if you look at the details and what he presents to the public, then yes, it was a sample issue. But in my opinion, and I could be wrong, there's no proof. You're right, there's no proof. But I feel like this nigga had a full release date. Like, he did everything but drop the track list, basically. Like, he said he was dropping. He had built it up on a couple of days. Like, I feel like it don't make sense you hyping up your album, you drop a release date. The night comes up and Drake's like, "Oh, I'm dropping an album," and then all of a sudden you got sample issues.
That's not. But that's not true. He said he was delaying the album like 2 days before that Drake album dropped.
I thought it was like the night up.
No, it was not. It was a few days before. See, that's the thing, though. Like you have this opinion based on this narrative that's just empirically untrue.
I don't remember him delaying the days before, if I'm being honest.
I definitely because it was after
we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, and then I remember going back and I remember hearing people talk about the Drake connection. And then I looked at his Twitter and I was like, "Oh, he tweeted days ago that he was delaying the album." I felt like we were idiots for not bringing it up on the show.
I must have missed that because I remember doing the podcast. We were saying "Oh yeah, he's dropping this week."
Yeah,
and
but
then
we also
after the podcast.
Yeah, but then
Go ahead.
But remember, we were saying we couldn't find it on streaming anywhere. We couldn't find because I think it was supposed to be a midweek drop. Remember?
Hold on, now I gotta check my facts.
I'm not sure.
I gotta check.
I'm a Joey Badass fan, so
hey, don't get me wrong. You could be 100% right.
Yeah,
it's
because
just, the timing seemed off.
This shit, yeah, shit feels like a lot of emotional projection based on things that didn't happen. That's what I think.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I
not
said,
sure.
I could be way off.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what week was that. The 17th?
Yeah, it was like 2
Was
weeks
it?
ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, but even still, going off what Isaiah said, you make a good point. Like you got two options. You just go ahead and drop, or you don't.
Yeah.
I feel like the lining is correct. I think he should have just dropped whatever he could have
Yeah.
dropped, because I feel like it would have shined in his own light, because everyone thought Drake was finna drop some crazy stuff, but like, you know how that was received.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's the only thing you can say about the Drake album is just
Like,
yeah.
yeah.
But
Man,
I think a lot of people were just like I feel like a lot of people were misled.
Look, okay,
And
hold on. I just went back. I'm on his Twitter. He tweeted it June 16th. So literally the night before. He said, "Man, I got some terrible news. My album won't be coming out tonight due to sample clearance issues. Right now, it's unclear how long I'll have to postpone it, but my hopes is no more than 2 weeks. I waited to have a new date before I told you guys, but it's out of my control." He tweeted that the night of the 16th.
what time?
man, it might have been
Let me
late though.
see it.
It might have
Yeah,
been late
I
because
don't
Drake
know.
dropped that album. I think Drake dropped that album at what 11 that night.
He tweeted it in the morning, to be fair. He did tweet it in the morning. He tweeted it at 10:30 a.m. But
There-
I'm just saying,
Yeah,
it's literally the night before.
I also
The day
like
before.
I also have a counter argument. So like if we're gonna interpolate, let me interpolate.
Okay. Okay.
My
Go ahead.
counter argument is like I feel like that is because say what you will about Joey Badass, he's real in a way Drake isn't. I feel
Yes.
like the idea of him like pulling his shit because Drake's gonna drop, like that's just like very uncharacteristic.
Not for a lot of artists. There's
Not-
a lot of artists that
Not Joey Badass though. Like that is just not the style I get. I don't see them as like competing in any serious way. I think it would have to be something huge, like a sample clearance, which would result in a cease and desist like letter.
Oh, for
Like
sure. Yeah.
it would have to be something
Yeah.
huge
Yeah,
to
yeah.
risk looking like you're running away from a Drake release. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like that's what I'm
Right.
saying is like the optics of like missing the album release because in the midst of a Drake release, like that looks so bad that it would have to have been something that dramatic. You know?
It could have been yeah.
That's the way I'm looking at it from, because like put yourself in those shoes.
But that's what I was gonna say. If I'm putting myself in those shoes, and I understand I'm not Joey Badass, so I can't really fit myself correctly. But I feel like you might have a certain personality, you might fit certain characteristics, but like once it come down to it, and you in a heat in the moment, you gotta be a big name to be like, I don't care, I'm dropping anyway. Because
Yeah.
like it's not often. It's only so many albums where like people was just like, I don't care, I'm gonna drop it anyway. And anytime that it's dropped and been successful, it's a big name. Like you have J. Cole dropping, I think with Kanye happened before, one of the albums lined up. You have Mac Miller and Travis Scott dropping on the same day. It's stuff like that where like you gotta be a big artist.
Right.
I don't, and nothing against Joey Badass, but I don't think he's at that level.
I don't think which is another reason why I don't think he would have done it.
I guess
Because like I just don't think
two totally different worlds.
I just don't think they're
they
like
won't impact each other.
I don't think they're like competing on the same level. Like think of it as like a movie release, right? Like a Drake album is like a big movie that everyone from teenage girls to like middle-aged dudes goes and sees. Whereas like a Joey Badass album is like an R-rated smaller film. Those two get programmed against each other. If you were someone like Travis Scott, who's like going for the same audience, yeah, it would make sense to not want to drop on the same day, unless you're someone as big as Travis Scott.
But in that sense, they would be competing in the same genre, so they would have to. At some point, one has to acknowledge the other in some part of that.
I don't know if like genre is like the right word for it, but I definitely would say. I just think they're in different lanes. I think they put in different places.
I mean, you know me. I'm gonna think about it from a business mindset. Personally, I could be wrong. I don't want to go against Joey Badass or his character. If
No,
he did it for different reasons, cool. God bless him, whatever it is. But from a business perspective, I would have took the same actions if
I
that's what it
don't.
came down
Yeah,
to.
I don't blame him if that were
Yeah.
the
Right.
case.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't want to get hit with like that sample shit.
Right.
Yeah, the only thing worse than not dropping an album is like dropping an album and then having to pull it.
I don't even know any albums that happens to.
I don't either. I think I've heard of it happening. Like,
I gotta look that up. I'm
but
curious now what albums dropped and got pulled.
I think like maybe songs have gotten pulled for sample stuff.
Yeah, probably modified
Yeah.
Yeah,
slightly.
that's true.
All right. But
yeah,
yeah, that's where I'm in. Well, that's where my
Yeah.
interest is at. Like as far as the singles go, I'm excited for the Joey Badass album. I don't buy into Drake Anon, so it's like,
But I was gonna say it's literally just one more song, and we went off on a tangent, but I'll just throw it in there. Calvin Harris and 21 Savage is coming out with a song. 21 has been in his bag recently, so
yeah,
you know it's
he's
going.
been he's been good on features, real strong
everything.
recently.
Yeah,
He trying to make a little run for it. You know,
Hair.
J. Cole had his
Yeah.
features up there for a while.
Yeah,
Travis had his features up there for a while, but
Is this-
21 been in his
is-
bag.
is this a single from that album, like the Funk Wave?
That's a
remember-
good question.
Remember, like a few years ago, Calvin Harris had that album, and like Slide was on it with Frank.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
same one with the Migos track, right?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
I
I don't know. Is Calvin Harris coming out with an album?
had heard he was. I had heard he's
Oh.
doing a sequel to that album.
Bet I will listen
might
to it.
Yeah.
That might fit the times.
Yeah. And I really liked that album. I thought that was a really fun, like, summery producer album. So,
Don't
To
look
be
it up.
hon-
If you were to take a guess, how long has it been since it came out?
oh shit.
Just take a guess.
5 years.
Isaiah?
5. Oh man, I'm gonna say like maybe 7 years.
Wow. 5 years on the money. It was 5 years
Oof.
exactly.
Sick.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's time then.
Yeah.
I forgot.
17? Wow, that was 17.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
He's
crazy.
been
Yeah.
quiet.
That was the summer I graduated college, so that was real easy to count back.
Wow.
Oh, there you go. So you had something to line it up with. Okay, bet. I'm now excited for the whole album.
Yeah. Calvin Harris is that's another one that's like doesn't drop all the time, but when he drops, some shit on there.
Yeah, no, he
Is-
can make some fun songs.
Yeah.
Would you consider him an artist or a producer?
He's a producer. I think producers are
Yeah.
artists.
Oh,
You know?
well, okay. I'm sorry. That's on me. That's on me. I should have said like rapper, I guess. Or,
Oh, like a
or
performer or like a
Yeah,
singer.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but even
Definitely
then,
artist,
he
definitely
does
an
perform
artist.
too. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I
Okay,
don't know.
okay. bet.
I just remember that song. I think it's like Summer Funk Wave or something. There's one song on there with Schoolboy Q, and man, that song is good. I'm gonna look it up right now. Like,
I mean, I'm pulling up the little bio right here in Spotify. To be fair, it literally is DJ Calvin Harris. So yeah, he's a performer. I'm excited because like we can throw him in. So Isaiah, we've been talking. It may not be next week because I think next week we have to do the mid-year podcast.
yeah,
But we plan on doing a producer podcast soon, and like he might be somebody that we
Yeah.
might throw in there.
Oh yeah.
Funk
Yeah,
Wave
for sure.
Bounce. Yeah, Funk Wave Bounce. That's what it was.
There we go.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, and that's a little tease. We're definitely teasing a
Stuff in the works.
producer episode. We
I think that's gonna be fun.
we
think
think
that's
about
gonna be
these things ahead
Gonna be
of
nice.
times.
We're becoming professional just a little bit.
We have a Google Doc and everything. Purvis, did you watch the BET Awards? Because I did not. I'm not allowed to watch that channel.
I'm not even. Shut up.
What? Like, it's
Um,
respect.
I guess I'm not even gonna hold you to it. I did not watch it live. Nowadays, I feel like it's half a fashion show and half
That's
just
literally all
a
award
bunch of performers.
shows.
Right, I'm about to say everything that was on social media was just like, look what this person's wearing. Which
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it kind of takes away from the actual event and the music. But besides that, I know there's a bunch of really dope performances out there. A lot of people got to shine. Apparently Kanye was able to go up there and talk about Diddy, but like he was full geared up, masked down, and everything.
He had to have been
Um,
real hot in that mask.
yeah, that boy was sweating. But he made an appearance. That's his first appearance since his little quiet stage. But a whole bunch of dope performances, and I don't know. I just feel like the reason I threw it in the news, well, one because it just recently came up and it relates to the podcast, but like two, I feel like it does a decent job standing out from the rest of the crap that we hate, like the Grammys and Oscars and all that other stuff. So I feel like it's not like watered down. It's like everything else is just marketing.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, fuck, man. It's like all that's what that stuff just inherently becomes. Like, how are you going to do a red carpet, and how does that not evolve into like literally what you said, like people posting on social media about what they're wearing?
Right.
And, you know, like
Yep.
like fashion and couture is cool. Like it's not what I'm about, but you know, I just wear hoodies. But like, you know,
I mean, everybody's got to gain attention. You
Yeah.
gotta grab people, and whether
It's-
that be with faces, whether that be with the actual giving of the awards
Yeah.
or the lead up to it, you got to make the headline somehow.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
is true because it all fits within the culture. Like it's even in song. I feel like it's not as prevalent, and I could be biased, but I feel like back in the day, it was way more materialistic. But like what you was wearing
Yeah,
was important. Like
yeah,
you rapped about the chains you got on,
Yeah.
the clothes you wearing, the designer you got, or whatever. And then once you kind of make it, like J. Cole said, like I don't care about none of that stuff. Like I just care
right.
about the music. So
Yeah.
you're not wrong. You got to get yourself out there.
Yeah. It's all about that attention economy. It's all about like how shit is valuable, like because you know it's all power at the end of the day, and power is a shadow on the wall. You know, it exists where people believe it exists.
Right.
Yeesh.
Yeah, that was from a Game of Thrones. Anyway,
No, it was not. You're
book.
lying.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Heck
That's
nah.
crazy.
But that's all the news. Like I
Yeah,
said, it's
that's
the
good
short news. I feel like most importantly, what I want to dive into first, wanted to give Isaiah a platform just to kind of speak about music making, the whole process, his inspiration, and all of that. I feel like you would bring a really good insight and point of view to
Yeah.
just like the beginning stages.
Yeah.
You know, you got to like get off the ground. So I guess transitioning into that, I just wanted to give you, I don't know, 3-5 minutes just to talk about like, what are you doing? How did it start? And
Yeah.
what's going on?
Yeah,
For
just tell us your
sure.
story
Well,
of it. Yeah.
I believe I started writing, I want to say sophomore year. So I think that was about 2017, 2018-ish. Inspiration to actually get me to not even just make music at first, but just write was the late Triple X Tentacion. And I think the way he was doing music at that time was he was capturing fans' motives, and he was creating music that was more than just about him. And I guess that's what made me even want to start with music, just writing in general. And then as just writing with the music, and then writing, I keep writing, honestly. I haven't deferred from writing. So I think that's what makes me a little different in the sense I don't freestyle at all. I'm horrible. Like, I'm not even going to lie to you. As long as I've written, or as long as I've been making music, I'm horrible at freestyling. Like, it just is a thing. I got to practice with that, but
That's definitely not a deal
I'm about to
breaker
say,
nowadays,
not at all.
especially if you're honest about it.
So people don't
Yeah.
even freestyle
Yeah.
in reality. Like
Yeah.
the freestyles that they do is already stuff that they
Yeah,
wrote
it's just
down,
stuff
just
that they-
fitting it into a beat.
Yeah, all those like really insane freestyles you see, like I guarantee you, like they know that they're gonna be on that radio show, and they just like write really quickly and they
Yeah.
adapt the flow. And like, don't get me wrong, that's a skill set in and of its own. Like, I'm not knocking it 1%. Like,
No,
Oh
you
yeah,
have to be. It's got to be quick and it's got to be quality. If it's
yeah,
not
you
quality, you're
gotta.
just gonna look goofy.
I assume, and maybe it's just because I do comedy, but I assume it's got to be the same way that like going on stage to tell jokes is that you know what you're
Yeah,
going in there to say, but like you can catch the vibe and you can improvise and you can add stuff on the spot. You know?
right. But
yeah.
as
That's very
with
true.
everything, you got to be careful with improvisation because as you improvise or as you make something or try to make something better, the crowd may not feel it. So it might completely go up, it may go down, but it's all how you it's all a reaction, I
Oh
guess.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
I
how you handle it and everything.
Purvis has seen me live. He knows that the crowd does not always go with me.
Heck nah, shut up. I mean, even still, like in itself, the reason I say is his own talent within the genre.
Yeah.
I feel like because you can improvise, and the thing is, the way I look at improvisation or whatever the word is, like when you lie, you have to keep lying, basically, and that's how
Yeah,
just like lies work. So when you come up with something and you coming up with it on the spot, you got to keep going. That's the difficult part.
Yeah.
Because
it's a
like
skill.
that's what I'm saying. Off the
Yeah.
top, you might have a bar, and then you like shit. Like, where am I going now? And
Right.
so you don't see a lot of people really. I feel like the last person that really could do it was Juice World.
Juice
That
WRLD for
man was
sure.
crazy.
Yeah, man.
That
Pretty
man
Damn.
much.
did it for hours, damn near. Like it was nothing. Like it's
Yeah.
weird,
No,
and
Juice WRLD could
it
do it for
shows.
sure.
Yeah,
And when I
it
think
shows you need a musical ear. Like
Yeah.
you
right.
need to have that already built
Yeah.
in.
And it's a skill, and you can even see it in other genres. Like look at like, you know, there are some bands that have guitarists that solo for 20 minutes, you know, just being
Yeah.
able to like
Very
stand
true.
in front of a crowd and control it just like on the spot. And then there are bands that, you know, are considered great, if not greater, that don't do that. Like,
Right.
They can't.
Just the performance enough is alone to keep the people at bay,
yeah,
basically.
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
But I definitely
But
think,
yeah.
yeah, I don't think you're gonna have any problems with that. Like, especially like as long as you're not Drake and like reading it off a BlackBerry and pretending it's a freestyle.
Yeah,
Like,
nah.
Nah. But that, like you said, it's all skill. You got to keep doing it to become better at it, and you know, trying to here and there. But writing is always like my passion. Having time and spending your thoughts like reading it over and over again, the lines, the words, like having that process in my head is for me a lot better. Even if it's some like trash bars, I'd rather it be a trash bar, like me thinking about it, than me not thinking about it, and that's because that's criticism. You get better.
yeah,
It's it's different type of criticism, but it's
yeah,
criticism nonetheless.
no,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's true. It's
yeah.
true.
And like, I mean,
Sorry,
like,
go ahead.
yeah, like criticism is not always like negative too. Like, you know, if
Right.
someone tells you why what you did was dope, you know, that's like why if anyone ever comes to me for feedback, I'm always like, if what they're doing is good, I want to tell them why.
Right.
Right. Yeah. It's true. Be specific and point out
Yeah,
like how to
yeah,
get better.
that's critical too. Like, even if you're pointing out what worked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
I
my
guess
thing
that's
is,
it. Go ahead.
I was gonna say my thing is I can handle any type of criticism, whether it's good or bad, but at least expound on it. Like if you're telling me to my face that I'm garbage and I'm trash, all right, cool. You can say that to
Yeah,
me. But if you're gonna play on that, if you're gonna play on getting that reaction, tell me why. That's gonna get more of a reaction out of me than just telling me, oh, you're trash, dude. You need to do something else. Like tell me why.
yeah.
Then that's gonna sit with me and like that's really gonna bother me and that's gonna make me think, okay,
That's
how
just,
can I overcome this?
you
Yeah,
know,
for
that's,
sure.
yeah, that's just like a negative, like, really toxic subpart about music is that, like, you know, it's a whole lot of things, and to some people, it's a social currency, right?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
those are the kind of people who are just gonna hate on things because like they view their taste as like, you know, I don't know what I'm getting into, but I'm gonna
It's
try
a
and pull the
it's
parachute on this.
people have a God complex.
Yeah,
And while it's good, it's also very bad.
and
It's
also
pride.
like it's something that, and I'm trying not to be the 30-year-old on the podcast, but like it's something you grow out of,
Yeah.
right? Like And also, like, no matter how bad something is, like, you don't have to come at it like, yo, this is trash. You can come in and just be like, hey, man, this hook isn't working. Something that's not so
Well, yeah.
inflammatory. Like,
Not everybody thinks like that, though.
well,
Not everybody
yeah,
thinks.
yeah, I know, but like,
Oh, you just got to learn
you
how to
gotta deal
balance
with it.
out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was about to say, take criticism to people you value. Like if you actually
Yeah.
respect someone's opinion, then it's like, okay, I'm gonna listen to you because I trust you in so many other things.
Exactly.
I definitely believe like one of the skills of like being a creative is curating your circle. Like whether
very
you're
true.
like finding a writing group or a music group, like low key, like if you show that to someone, like if you show your music to someone and they're even the type of person to respond to the worst thing they've ever heard with "nah, that's trash," then that was a mistake for you to share your music with that person because that person is just not approaching it on the level.
Right.
That's what really how you got to think about it. Like if someone does
They're
that,
not
like
even coming in with the openness.
low key, like that's like going to class and like finding that note on the class like that's canceled because it's like, oh, okay, like you don't like it, I don't even got to continue any further. Like you could just and like don't take it personal. Like
no, never. And criticism should never be a personal thing either. I think criticism should always be looked at like objectively.
Yeah, the thing is that like when you have people who are who are going to be dismissive though, like it's gonna be very hard to not take that personally because that's not criticism, that's an insult, and insults are personal,
right?
Like,
and it's so important. Like I said, the people that you actually trust and value, because this, like what you just said, was perfect timing. This week, I had a whole conversation, and it's like 20 dude group chat. We talk about sports and everything, and like what pisses me off is so. I know you may not follow sports, but like everyone knows Stephen A. Smith. He's loud. He's like arrogant. He's in your face. I hate when like reporters or analysts are like commenting on a player and they just like are so disrespectful. Like you need to learn how to separate the player from the person.
Right.
I feel like you go in and you talk about like, oh, this person is shooting this percentage and he's trash because of this, that, and the other. And I don't care. I'm gonna be in his face about it. But like you're supposed to be talking about a player. Now you bringing up other personal stuff and like his daily life. I just feel like that relates so much to this conversation of like you need to learn how to like separate when you're critiquing different art, whatever form it might be. You need to learn to take the piece of art away from the person. And it's not you're not going to value them.
Yeah, especially
That's
like
crazy.
when it's in the creative process. I can see like taking this to an extreme example, like when something like R. Kelly happens, being like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna like disengage. Like that is like one thing, but like
it's situation is everything. It really depends on each situation. You got to figure out what you care about and what you don't care about, and do that. Like it's hard for people to tell. It's hard to tell people to feel their feelings.
Yeah,
but not everybody can do it. But it's
emotional intelligence is like woefully undertaught in our culture in this country.
Exactly, awareness is key.
Emotional awareness. It's just like, and like sometimes it's like, especially like if you're like driving and shit, and people are like cutting you off. It's like, don't you think about other people like for like 1 second? Like it does seem like we just don't encourage that kind of empathy. I'm sorry, I had to say it.
But I knew it was coming somewhere.
It's all wrapping
coming
back
somewhere.
I mean, and getting back on subject. So, like, is this something that you've encountered personally? Because I know you said you haven't pressed like play, you haven't put out a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you still have people that review your writings that you're just talking about. Like, how do you handle this? Who do you share it with? Do you share it? And how do you accept that?
Honestly, I am not that type of guy to be like, oh, yo, listen to my shit. Like, if it comes up that I'm an artist, all right, cool. I'll share my shit if you wish to listen. I hate forcing people to listen to some shit. As for critiques, friend of friends, people that I know, and people that just are around me in general. I'll let anybody critique it. Like I said, if I'm putting it out for the public, I'm not gonna hide it from some people. I'm not gonna hide it from family. I'm not gonna hide it from anybody because anybody could hear it. For critiques, it's hard to say because I haven't gotten too many bad critiques, but then again, I haven't gotten to that place where it's fully public. So it does put put a little bit of, not fear, but it puts a little bit of doubt in actually releasing. But I feel like that's just beginning jitters. Like I got to get over that. And as far as me taking the bad criticism or just any type of unhelpful criticism, I'd say I'm I'm self I'm aware enough to where I don't let none of that shit affect me, man. Like I think everything's a joke. Even if people don't think it's a joke, I'll laugh at it. Like I'm good at that. So I really don't care. If people are trying to tell me that what I'm generally doing is bad, I will listen to the people that I care about first. Like you said, I'll listen to those people first rather than I'll take from anybody else,
Mhm.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that's what you
completely
gotta
understand
do.
that.
So tell me
The
And
then,
people,
like,
yeah.
who's like, as you're making this music, like, who are you like pulling from? Like, what's someone? You're a young dude. Like, what's someone like of the culture today? Like, who are you listening to get inspired for like your music?
Man, it could be anybody from Denzel Curry,
Ooh,
IDK,
big fan of Denzel.
man,
ooh,
it could
you
be
know about
Kanye.
IDK?
Yeah,
Okay.
Tyler for sure. Um, Man, at some points, I Big Sean, like Pusha T. I really like lyricists, man. Like lyricists and anybody that knows what they're doing with words.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of Griselda, the whole Griselda.
all the Griseldas.
It just anybody that knows what they're doing with words, man. Anybody that knows art, even musical people like Masego, the R&B people, some of
Ooh,
that era.
yeah,
Yeah, Masego's good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Drawing from hip hop and R&B is something that I really enjoy
That's
doing.
yeah,
that's some big
It's
ones.
it's a passion.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I should say, and hopefully this doesn't come off as any form of disrespecting them like that, because I know some other artists do not like to hear this notion or this question. Like you just gave a really good list of like artists, but like, do you ever compare yourself or want to be like a certain style?
Yeah.
um, the top one is for sure Tyler, for sure,
Okay.
What is
Okay.
it?
no question.
What is it you would say that you want to emulate? Like, what is it about you that you want people to look at and be like, "Oh, that reminds me of Tyler."
Right. Or even a
The
part that you can expand on and make it
Yeah,
yours.
I'd say the overall execution of a vision.
yeah,
That the way he can portray any type of story, any type of feeling, you can feel it.
yeah,
If he can make a happy song with sad lyrics and vice versa, and it could be the most beautiful thing that you've ever heard.
yeah. There's
Like,
like, it really is crazy. Like, I'm not the hugest Tyler the Creator fan in the world, but like, he really is like one to one. Like, whatever he wants you to feel, whatever he wants on the music, it's there.
yeah, it's that singularity and it's that overall creativity that's just it blows my mind how much of a world he has. And he says it too, like he's basically a child in a man's body, like with his brain, with his creativity. And that's something that I wish I could go back to. I feel like as people grow up, they for sure lose a lot of their creativity just because
Yeah,
of life. And
Man,
that's
yeah,
something that I
what a
never want
guy.
to have happen.
yeah.
I'd never
I
want to
like,
have that happen.
my
It,
God.
it's something you can fight to reclaim. That
Yeah,
that's what
for
I'll
sure.
say. Like, at least that's what the experience for me has been. Like,
That's
it's something I lost. It was like beaten out of me, and I had to find again.
And it's all effort too. Like
Yeah,
if you don't want to find it, that's cool. If you're
yeah,
complacent on that, that's cool. But
yeah,
if you want to follow that, do it. You
yeah,
just have to figure it out basically.
yeah. You just gotta do.
Yeah.
I definitely feel that. And I guess a follow up question I would have then in terms of like just doing. what is the musical process? Because like Brendan and I joke around like, oh, we gonna make this song and we gonna become popular. Like you say that
Yeah.
stuff all the time as a joke.
Yeah,
But
no,
like,
we're never gonna
bro,
make music, dude. I can't.
we don't have
I've opened up Ableton to try and figure that shit out
Yeah,
nah.
yeah,
so many
yeah.
times, and it's
It's
like
tough.
About to say,
my brain knows how to work in a video editing suite, and now it's like, nope, no more. Like, it's like
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. And so like we can't make a bar, we can't make a beat. So like for someone who's actually has the capabilities, the skill set, what is the musical process? Like, okay, you're writing down lyrics, now what?
Honestly, it doesn't for me, it starts with lyrics, but for anybody else, it could start with a key. It could start with the strum of a guitar. It could start with anything. I think something that you guys said on a past episode of yours was Alchemy, like one of the albums. I think it was Pusha
Yeah.
T making his album was almost like alchemy, and that's the thing. You got to find like it's basically figuring it out. Every song is just somebody figuring it out. It's it could be a key, it could be a word. For me, it starts with lyrics, so I'll have a poem or something that I'll have a line that I'll have randomly thought up in the day, and that's how a note starts. That's how a song starts. As at the beats, I don't really do any of my beats. I just listen to a lot because I think people are way better than I am, and right now I want to focus on my lyricism instead of my beat making ability or like my music making ability, I would say. So when I hear a beat, it depends on how I'm feeling. If I even want to write a new note, if I want to use something from the past, oh, this one fits here. It's all alchemy. You got to figure out, okay, well, if this verse that I wrote to something completely random fits better with this song, I'm gonna put it there. I'm not gonna like hold it and just make two songs. It's weird like that. For me, I pick pieces that I like and just follow that basically. It's a lot it's a lot more difficult than what it sounds like, but um when you get in the mode, when you get in the creativity mode, you know what that is. Like and that, like I said, that could be for any art, that could be for editing. When you get in that specific mode and you just go,
yeah,
that's one of the like
flow
peak
state,
moments of
Yeah.
creativity. Yes.
flow state,
It's
Yes.
that
yeah,
space. It's a
yeah,
little space where you just kind of float.
yeah,
Yeah.
flow
It
space.
works.
Exactly. There's been times where I've literally spent maybe an entire day running through a singular verse just because I liked the verse so much and I wanted to edit it the whole day. And the song itself, it didn't have to take me that long, but it just took me like 5 hours to write a song because I love this. I love how it sounds and I want to make it better. So
Yeah,
it's all alchemy, man. It's all science.
yeah. It's
I
all
got you.
like, it's all craft. Like, it's all stuff you can learn. You
Yeah,
know, like that's the other thing is that like creativity, like you almost see it like magic, right? And like it's something you just like tap out of, and that's why like people who are creative geniuses are also insane.
for sure.
One, two, three, Kanye West. But
I would I
yeah,
would have done Childish
Yeah.
Gambino just to like County.
yeah,
But essentially, like
yeah,
that level, yeah,
yeah.
is all the same
But
thing.
really, like in my experience, like creativity is like a muscle. Like honestly, like
Yeah,
low key, like Isaiah, do this with me. Purvis, this is a question for you. Like you're not really before this podcast, like you weren't someone who really had a creative outlet. But
No.
now you do. Like, don't you feel like your ability to be creative getting stronger?
I mean, it's funny that you say that because I always felt like it was kind of built in for certain things might trigger where it might come out. Because, like, it could be some, and I know this is going to sound lame as hell compared to like making music, but like, even right now, I'm getting my graduate degree. Like, I know when it hits, because like sometimes I'll wake up and be like, I'm not going to type this paper. Like, I'm
yeah,
just not in the zone. Because, like, if I force it, I'm just gonna make up some random
Yeah,
points and just random evidence and throw it together. But like I know like, if I hit that certain zone, I could be like dead tired, no sleep. It does not matter. Like I
yeah,
just start flowing and I look up and I'm 3 pages in.
yeah.
So it's stuff like that with like I feel I've had it built in if like I'm
Uh,
actually interested in the topic or like what it is. But ever since it started, and like it's little corny stuff like this, but I love our social media. Like the Instagram page, I'm fully like I post everything on it.
yeah.
When I was making those initial posts, nigga, I knew people was gonna be like, "Oh, that's cool." And when I like you started seeing it, and you was like, "Bro, this is dope. Like this is some stuff like people in my agency don't make." Like that's like confidence
Yeah,
booster.
like
I'm like, okay,
I'm
I
not
know
gonna
what I'm doing.
I'm not gonna name names, Juliana Gary, but like the social media professionals who make $100,000 a year, like don't do shit like that good. Like
Exactly. It is like little stuff like that. Like I've always been wanting to make playlists, which is something more personal. That's not something that I'm presenting to people, but like I it was enough of an important factor in my life that people started to recognize it. Like people
Yeah.
who knew me were just like, "Oh, you made a playlist. Something happened. What's the theme behind it? What's the cover photo?" What like it's little stuff like that where I felt like it was kind of built in, and this definitely has helped like express it more.
Kudos, man. It's
yeah,
anything that you create is creative, no matter
yeah,
what it is. Even if it's not art, if you're creating something,
yeah.
it's creation, bro.
Low
It's all
key,
the same
like
thing.
I think that's Isaiah. That is like wise beyond years, because like I think that's like exactly the lesson people have to learn. Is that like literally creating anything? Like if you're building a grill in your backyard, if you have passion for building budgets and finances and shit, like
Yeah.
any of that creative stuff, that's gonna activate. And I think it's important for people to have those outlets.
The world is just so big, man.
Yeah.
It's hard for the human brain to like be contained. There's something for everybody, man.
There really
And
is.
anything, anybody can create anything.
Yeah, like
Everything's possible.
if you ever like typed a random word into the Steam store and then like gone to like page 4, weird shit. There's really shit out there for anybody.
For real. It's weirdest thing that you could ever come across
Yeah,
on the online. Somebody made it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Somebody has the passion
Do
to do it.
not
out there.
do a Steam search for the word school. Do not.
No,
It's like,
no.
It's funny because like people not even gonna know what Steam is. Only like some of our some of our listeners gonna know what that is.
You know, the gamers out there, real
oh
gamers.
yeah. Isaac, do you know what Steam is? Text
I'm
me.
telling you right now, my brother does not know what Steam is.
Yeah.
He does not do nothing with PC gaming. But try to get back on subject. I guess one last question
Yeah.
for me that was
Yeah.
because we talked about the making of the music, and
Mhm.
I won't make you don't have to share nothing right now if you don't have anything prepared, but what is the end goal? Like
Yeah. Like, what are you building towards?
you going right, like where are we going with this?
I think end goal is probably to be able to do music without ever having to care about any materialistic things such as financial well, I want to have financial freedom, but to not care about anything
Yeah.
financially. I want to be able to take care of my people,
Yep.
and everything I do is for everybody else. Like honestly, I could sit here and be like, I want to make money, I want to do all this stuff. I just want to be able to take care of my family and be able to do something that I love at the same time. And that's really it, dude. I'm cool with not having any listeners. I'm cool with not having
Humble
like
life.
yeah, I'm okay
That's
with not
love.
having
Yeah.
nothing because I've been isolated basically for a minute, like whether that be just in my free time or growing up, I've been isolated for a lot. So if I can keep going by myself, I want to do this all for somebody else, for other people, man.
That's cool.
That's
That's cool.
love.
So
That's dope.
I actually have one last question though, Isaiah. I really do.
Yeah, yeah, go.
Because
Yeah,
like
yeah, go.
I get that like you're early in your career, right? Like you even said it yourself, you're an aspiring musician. You're not quite
Yeah,
there yet.
yeah,
But you've taken the most important step, which is the first one. Right? Like there are two important steps in doing anything, and that's the first one and the next one. And
yeah,
you've done that. So I guess my
yeah.
question is like, if we have anyone listening who's like thinking about taking that first step, what would you say to that person?
Honestly, if you have any doubts, if you have any troubles, the thing that I would recommend is just be aware of yourself. Like, if you know you're struggling with something creatively, if you have creative blocks, just know that and recognize it. That's the first step to overcoming anything. The second step is just do. Like, and doing could be figuring it out. Doing could be, um, I don't know, taking care of other things you got going on in your
Yeah.
life. Like, doing that first, but do whatever you need to do to, like, be clear-minded and it, that's all. Like, really
Yeah.
having a clear mind, being able to converse with yourself and figure it out. That's what's going to help anybody do anything.
Yeah.
Take that first step.
Yeah, I mean, that really is. It's the hardest part. It's blank page syndrome. No one
Yeah.
likes to look at the blank page.
Yeah.
For the God.
But
You
It's
got to
funny,
start from
like-
somewhere. Yeah.
My mic is muted off with the filter, but I'm over here snapping.
Yeah.
It's true, bro. Everything
Huh?
you said is so true down to the core.
Yeah. No, dude. I think you're wise behind your years.
I appreciate it.
and I
Man.
think-
I
Oh,
appreciate it.
I've been said that.
Yeah. Well, we just-
years ago.
I just hope you know that in all your endeavors, we got you in your corner. And personally, I think you're going to make it. I've seen some of your snippets. I've heard plenty.
I shared it instantly,
appreciate
bro. When I saw that, I instantly put
Yeah.
that on the story. I said, hold
I
on.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all for real. And that's all I ask is, like, if you like it, just share it. Like,
Yeah.
and it doesn't even need to be extra. Just be like, all right, this is this.
Yeah.
And that's all. That's all I could ever ask for. So I appreciate you guys. I do the same thing when I listen to your podcast, man. These episodes, I'm running through them. I'm running through them slowly,
They're fun.
and I'm gonna start.
There's going to be
I'll-
new ones every
Oh,
week.
Great. Yeah.
Probably forever at this point.
Share.
Like,
I'm sharing the new ones.
At this point, I get irate if like we don't do it. So it's like,
Yeah.
It's fun. I think we came close maybe 2 or 3 times. Just like, do we not do it? Do we not do it? But nah,
there was one week,
I don't see it.
the one week
Yeah.
we didn't do it. Like I was legitimately like, man, I wish I had a podcast to go on and just talk for
Right.
it.
It just didn't feel right.
Yeah. And and another thing I think is just, if there's always ever any doubt, just try it. Just do
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yeah,
the worst that could happen is you have a terrible episode. Just delete it. Like,
everyone does. Yeah, and like, look, we've all tried shit that didn't work out. I mean, like I brought up Ableton. Like I have Ableton and a sampler under my fucking desk right now, and it's like
Yeah.
I can't do shit. Like
but it's that first step, if you really wanted to, you could do it. And you could even use that for more than just like music. Like, you could do some soundboard shit with that, like,
I'm sure I
if
could.
you really wanted to use it, you could.
I'm certain I could like figure out how to use the pads and like use it for like background for videos and shit. But that's
That'd be
probably
great.
that's probably as far as it's gonna go. All right.
Yeah, let's not push it.
Yeah. Me and Purvis will not be dropping our debut album.
No, sir. No, sir.
Uh,
I don't think we
God
will.
bless the trap.
That's
I'm gonna leave
unfortunate.
that to the professionals like you.
Well, now,
But
do we want to pivot and dive into Igor?
I was literally about to say, because like obviously we brought you on because we wanted your newcomer experience, kind of share a little word there. But in addition to that, you
Yeah.
have an amazing perspective and insight
Yeah.
on music.
Thank
Just
you.
from your previous experiences, what you know,
Yeah.
just your personality, your characteristics. And I thought, if anything, you just said your biggest influence is Tyler.
Yes,
so
sir.
Yeah.
let's do a little deep dive on Igor.
Yeah.
What I'm here for.
Because, Yeah, because like I don't think me or Purvis are like super into Tyler. Like I like Tyler. Like if he drops
Right.
an album, I listen.
100% gonna listen.
I don't think I've missed a Tyler release since Wolf. Even if
Yeah.
I've regretted it, I don't think I've missed a Tyler release since Wolf.
I don't think I listened to Cherry Bomb, but everything else.
That was the
I've
one
been,
I
like,
regretted,
fully
yeah.
on the I've been fully, obviously, like if someone's like, "Oh, my top 5," I don't think I've ever said Tyler.
Yeah, I
But
don't think I've ever said Tyler.
fully
And-
appreciate his body. of
Yeah,
work.
but no,
Yeah.
I just like as a creative person, like he really is like a top tier creative. Like
Yeah, for sure.
like he's right up there with, you know, Kanye West, Donald Glover. You know, he's absolutely at that level. So
Yeah.
you know, and Igor's a great album.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's great.
So I
So
guess this start off the conversation. Should we start with Tyler himself?
yeah, let's start with Tyler. Like, let's go with the middle. Purvis. When did you first discover Tyler?
I first discovered Tyler doing, and I'm gonna use this just as verbiage to make it as easy as possible. But Tyler had 2 careers, in my opinion. I discovered him in the
He
middle
definitely
of
had.
his
No, he definitely
in
had
the
2
middle of
careers.
his
Yeah.
first career. Right.
Yeah.
I found him doing Wolf, and that, man, that stuff was crazy. That was some dark music. That was some of the darkest music I think I've ever listened to. But
Yeah.
it allowed me to kind of open up a whole new perspective that like I low-key didn't know I had in me, or like how I might approach a situation. So Wolf instantly captured me. It was weird, but it was like dark and it's interesting. That's when I first kind of dove into him myself. And like I just kind of rolled from there.
Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a bit older, and I remember hearing about Tyler like when he first hit, and it took me until like Wolf to like warm up to him, because like at the time like I was mostly into Kid Cudi, Lupe, Kanye, Jay-Z. I was really going into a Jay-Z phase like when Wolf came out, and you know I liked it. Like I didn't hate Tyler, but just like it just didn't seem like for me. It just seemed like the shit the weirder kids were into. Like Odd Future. And the other thing is that like Odd Future is it was the first time when like there was a movement that was mostly composed of kids younger than me.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't consider that. Yeah.
Yeah, because
That's an
like
interesting
that's like
way to think about it.
yeah, that was like the first that was like the thing about Odd Future was I was working at a Lids at the time. I was working at 2 different malls that were like connected to like that were like big suburban hot, like the kind of people who listen to Tyler would gather and congregate. And yeah, it was just like, you know, that's just who I associated Tyler with, was like snot-nosed 14-year-olds at the time. Right? And I'm like, man, I'm going to listen to my Kanye and my J. Cole and my Mac Miller.
2 very different sounds.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
still
guess
like that though.
Yeah. But
he
but like
he's
when
still
Wolf
good,
dropped,
right?
like there were some tracks, and like I didn't hate everything. Like I liked that Yonkers. You know, Yonkers was fun. I
Yonkers
remember.
was-
I remember the
Yeah.
break. I think the breaking point was he did a track with Lil Wayne in the game,
Interesting.
and he had a feature on that, and I was like, "Oh, okay, this is fun. I like this." And
God.
then Wolf dropped, and I was like, "Okay, Wolf is good. I like this."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, Isaiah, what's your perspective as
Yeah.
apparently this 14-year-old snotty nose kid?
yeah,
Man, it's honestly, I think it's crazy because it's still like that to this day. Like you'll go to anywhere that Tyler plays, and you, like I said, you'll see that range of people. Now it's a little bit older, but you'll still see those like snotty nosed 14-year-old kids. Like it's like, what are you doing here? Do you
Yeah.
really know who this is?
yeah.
Right.
Like,
But,
but
like,
they do.
At,
They do know,
But to
and it's
s-
crazy.
but to a certain extent, like that, you like I do feel like with having that music he made early in his career, like Tyler will never be able to shake that fan base, which is not
No.
a bad thing, you know. It's just,
And to be
it's a-
fair, yeah, I was about to say the snotty-year-old 14 kids that are listening to him now is a little bit different from the ones that grew up on him.
oh yeah, for sure.
Extremely different.
Yeah, for sure.
Extre- And that's what I was about to get into is like these kids now, like they have the internet now. So they know who they're getting into. They're like they're becoming fans of what they're getting into. And I think that's a good thing, but I also think it's a bad thing because, you know, these kids will just look on the internet and see that everything is fact. and that's a whole different conversation. But
there are plenty of old people who do that too. I wouldn't get too worried.
Yeah.
And like also Isaiah, I'm gonna call bullshit on that just a little bit because you're like, oh, kids these days have the internet. It's like, motherfucker, I'm 30. I had the internet. Like,
but like when you were a kid, I feel like it was different.
But when these guys, they're like growing up with it, so they're getting to like experience it in a different way that you guys experienced it, because you guys were kids, and then there was the internet. These guys have the internet like since day one.
No, dude, like
they are the internet.
There was an internet, but like I get that, like I was not born into a world that was like internet connected. I understand that. But like I was 10 years old when an internet connection got put into my house, and I have not lived in one since that didn't have one. You know, like, and like that's like I don't remember shit from when I was like 18, let alone 10. You know, so
I guess what I would say is that there are a lot.
I mean, I just want to push back on. I have an instinct to just like push back on like, oh, the world's going to shit narratives, because that's just like what fucking closed-minded people think.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. Like, there's those going to shit.
Yeah.
But like, I just feel like the internet has a bigger impact on the kids now.
I
wouldn't say it's much of an impact. I would say just they're a little bit more impressionable now because of it. That's what I would say.
I don't know. See, like, because think about it this way: kids these days, like, the main difference that I can see is that kids growing up nowadays, their parents understand the internet. My parents didn't fucking understand the internet.
That is a big difference.
You know, and like I feel like that's the chief difference, right? Which would probably, no offense, but would probably push against like this idea, because I think kids have always been impressionable. You know, like,
for sure.
Remember, you know, like it's not the internet. It's, you know, like I remember when I was a kid, like I remember going to school in Melrose Park and like having someone say that their fucking uncle works at Nintendo, and then like moving to go to a different school, and like someone saying the same shit. It's like kids are gonna make shit up and like be impressionable anyway. That's just part of it. That's just part of being a kid. Just because it happens online now, like, yeah, I get that that's different, but I just think it's the same thing, just digitally.
Yeah, it's. I think it's dependent too on like I said, situation. I think it's different for everybody in some sense. Some of these kids are unfortunate enough to where they don't even know what the internet is.
Yeah, no, and that's like that's really truly the unfortunate like shit. Like, but back to Tyler the Creator. I mean, it makes sense though. Like, he is like one of the internet's like children. Like, he is an artist that came up because of people being able to put their music out on the internet freely and openly.
Yeah.
Like, Mac Miller came before him, but that's really it. That's the only one I can remember.
I think the ability to intake a lot of art that nobody has ever seen before is one of the greatest things that the internet could have gave us.
Yeah.
The internet gave us a lot of people that probably would not have been that nobody would have ever been privy to unless the internet was the internet, basically.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Are either of you familiar with Sturgeon's Law?
I can't say I am.
I feel like remind me of it, because I feel like it's...
So Sturgeon's Law, and I think it relates to music on the internet, specifically Tyler the Creator, very well. And that is when there is no gatekeeping and you just get everything, all of the creative expression. 90% of it is going to be shit. But because 90% of it is shit, that 10% rises to the top.
Yes.
And the presence of all that creativity, like, just the best of the best rises to the top, and it makes it look even better. So do you think like that is like an example of Tyler the Creator? Like, because God knows the internet, especially in the late 2000s, early 2010s, like, was just filled with everyone putting up music. Little B put up a mixtape a day for like 4 years.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Um, I've man, that's kind of interesting. I feel like r- remind me of the actual like because my brain is going in so many different directions
it
just because you
happens
said
all the
that one
time.
thing. Yeah. I think that because there's a lot of and I don't want to say trash, but just because there's a lot of fodder, I'll say, in the internet, I think that at the time Tyler started to drop music at that time, I think that even if he was to be some of the fodder, I feel like that beginning point wasn't his high. So that was probably that
Yeah.
his early music career was not his high, and that's what made his current high, which I can't. I guess I would speak to that as probably Flower Boy,
Yeah.
maybe.
It
All
certainly
of
is
that
that
was
that whole second wave of his.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It was just the lead up to that.
Yeah.
Like all that fodder, all that stuff, it just led up to the rise of that. I guess you could say that that applies. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would agree. I would
And
agree with
like,
that.
yeah, like I totally agree that like when we talk about that, like I understand that we're talking about Tyler's early work. But like, yeah, he has certainly grown since then. Like if there's anything you can say about Tyler is that he's not stagnant. He is constantly evolving
No,
as an artist.
for sure.
He's always looking to grow a little bit more and
Yeah.
more every year.
Yeah.
And
And
his
that's what
development,
should
what
be
a
said.
shift. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what should be said with every artist. It's just that he enforces that so well.
Yeah. And I also think like, he just pulls it off better than some artists. Like I remember, and I'm a huge fan of Childish Gambino, but I remember that Blank project he put out, and it
Mhm.
was just like,
Mhm.
this is a really really cool idea, and there's like some cool projects, the songs on this, and like you were 90% of the way there, but like he just didn't cross the finish line, and it just feels like Tyler's just he's never 90% of the way there. He's always just like seeing everything all the way through.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it is very, very true. Like he forces himself, and not that he's not being accepted, but he forces himself into so many different communities and so many different spaces within the genre where
Yeah.
like he makes a name for himself no matter what.
Yeah.
He just has so much power and so much drive behind his vision, because that's one thing that you pointed out earlier, Isaiah. Like the most important, like impressive thing is like he just has an idea and he's able to make it work. There's been
Yeah.
so many steps, and he even said himself in interviews, he was like, I don't know how I got here, but like it worked. Like it just everything started to piece together. And so I just feel like his impact on the culture, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If not to talk about just his work ethic or his certain skills or whatever, I think he brings a lot to the community.
The work ethic is crazy because he
Yeah.
does it, and that's the thing. He does all these accomplishments and all this great music on his time. That's the thing.
Yeah.
He can do it whenever he wants, when he wants. He don't have to listen to nobody because he's built it. He's built it from the ground up,
Yeah.
and that's like that's the best inspiration for me is that if you can do that from the ground up, anybody can do that from the ground up. You just have to literally sit there and figure it out. That's all.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I
I
couldn't
mean,
agree
I
more.
feel like for me, what I take away from Tyler, and just kind of building off what you were saying, I guess we can all kind of take turns saying like what I take away. But like for me, what I take away is like personally, he found a cool way to be different. Like I feel like a lot of people are growing up kind of lost as children. You don't know what kind of direction you want to go, and like it's a lot of weird kids out there. If you want to say like weird, and
Yep.
so he made personally for me, I feel like Tyler made weird cool, and I feel like that's where he just kind of fits within the space for me. It's a lot of people out there on the outskirts of the genre that you may not think, oh, this kid likes hip hop, but like he found a way to fit them in, and I think that's a big deal.
Yeah. Individualistic or being weird is now that's the cool. Everybody don't want to be like everybody else no more. And if you do,
Right?
that's weird. Like
Yeah.
that's what's weird now. So I think the shift that
It
he
is.
did was his impact on the culture, and that's big, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think like the idea that artists hitting the scene now have to almost come with like an ethos, you know? They can't, you can't just be the
Yeah.
game anymore and just be really good and be like and like get on music. You got to have like the
Bro,
whole
we talked
experience.
about it last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
We literally talked about that last week with
Yeah.
the new people coming up.
Yeah. And low key, like, you can kind of put that at Tyler's feet.
Yeah.
Like he's the reason it's like that. And it's not better or worse. It's just the way it is now. You know?
Right.
So, and it's interesting because I don't think sonically, I don't think he's been super duper influential in the culture. I don't see a whole lot of people trying to sound like Tyler and failing. Maybe I'm like out of the loop on that. I certainly could be, but
no, because I think
I don't think
his style of music is not what's
it's very
popular
unique. Yeah, it's very unique. It's very esoteric,
for sure.
But I do think in this sense of his approach towards music and creativity as a whole, I think that's like where he has certainly left his impression.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's not to say his music doesn't sound good sonically. It sounds, especially lately, it sounds fucking incredible.
I mean, one of the recent things, like, and I guess this is a good way to just dive into Igor.
Please, yeah.
I'll just jump off with the first question because we always do this. Is this a classic?
Oh man.
It's far too new.
On his roster,
Far too new?
I would
It's 3 years
say
old.
no.
Okay.
It's 3 years old. It is.
You said on his roster.
Yeah, I feel like on his roster, that probably wouldn't make, for me personally, I'll say this personally, that would make top 3 of his albums on his roster. I don't think that it would be a classic.
What's above it?
While it's sound now, because are we gonna get into impact, like classic impact, or are we just gonna get into sounding? Because I'm rating it just based off sound.
Whatever you call a classic,
Yeah,
it's
like
your personal
it's personal
interpretation of a classic.
Yeah, me and
For
Purvis
me-
have very different ideas of what's a classic.
Right.
Yeah, for me, a classic is no longer classified as something by time, because to me, the best of music is timeless. Therefore,
Okay.
Yeah.
I think sound is the only way to play off it. So with that, I would say Flower Boy is definitely number 1. Even though it literally had just came out, I feel like because of what album that it is, Call Me If You Get Lost is second on that list. After that, I believe Cherry Bomb would be my third, only because that's the album where you really saw Tyler kind of differentiate and step more musically, instead of just, I guess, I wouldn't say shock value because Wolf wasn't necessarily shock value. But I would say Cherry Bomb was a it's weird because it basically just builds off of each other. For me, Cherry Bomb is just a more musical and better sounding Wolf.
That's interesting.
And so
That's interesting because I completely disagree.
Yeah.
I agree that his albums have been building off each other since Cherry Bomb, and that there's definitely that division there. And Cherry Bomb certainly introduced a lot of ideas that would become very well used on the next 3.
Okay.
But maybe I need to go back and re-listen. But I remember really not liking Cherry Bomb.
I'm not
think
even gonna hold you to it. I don't even. Cherry Bomb is the only one that I don't remember.
Yeah, go back and listen.
I remember it was. It's not as bad as the Post Malone album, Purvis, but like,
oh my god!
But like, well, no, because like for me,
Damn.
like if I don't like an album, like I forget about it.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
but like,
no, and that's fair. Yeah,
but like, for example, like the Post Malone album, like his first one, like I remember where I was sitting when I was listening to that because I hated it so much. And like
okay.
low key, like
I don't get it.
at the time, like I kind of felt the same way about Cherry Bomb, right?
Mm.
My feelings on Tyler took a net breaking 180 when Flower Boy hit, like
Yeah.
So like, look, they can't all be zingers. Like that's just my opinion on it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna sit here and like hate people who like Cherry Bomb, but you're not gonna get me to say anything nice about it either.
yeah.
And like,
I'm dead.
Yeah, but like they can't all be zingers, and I think the rest of his oeuvre speak for itself. Yes, I just said.
Well, I mean, hell no, Isaiah, what's your counter? Because I know you like Cherry Bomb.
I mean, to be honest, it's a fair take for what it was at the time, because I feel like everybody, or not everybody, but a lot of people felt the same way you do and feel the same way you do. I feel like a lot of people still don't like Cherry Bomb because of just probably the way it was put together, or I wasn't in the time. I wasn't paying attention to Tyler at the time when he dropped Cherry Bomb, so I can't remember.
Yeah,
I don't even know what I was doing at that time. Probably doing something else.
Because I remember, like low key, like Cherry Bomb kind of took some of the wind out of my sails for liking Tyler at all. Because like
really?
I just wasn't super into Goblin and Bastard. Like they're not bad, but they're for weird kids at the mall and not me.
Right.
But I liked Wolf, so I was like, oh, like I'm excited. I'm gonna listen to this guy's next project. Yeah. And then Cherry Bomb was like, oh, like it was.
And to me, Wolf was good, but I feel like listening to Flower Boy first and then going back to Cherry Bomb and then just doing that deep dive backwards.
Yeah.
I think that was a better listen for me.
That's definitely true. See, that's definitely true because like
that's an interesting way to look at it.
Like even like I stand by everything I said about Cherry Bomb, but even like thinking about it now, like I think that makes total sense. Because I remember listening to Cherry Bomb and thinking like this just sounds bad. Right. And then like Flower Boy, Igor, and even Call Me If You Get Lost. Like they all have like that very analog, like lo-fi kind of vibe to it that he was experimenting on Cherry Bomb. So like I feel like if you listen to these first and you go back to Cherry Bomb, that's gonna sound intentional. It might sound imperfect and not and like, oh, it needs to be refined into what it would become. But just hearing it when it came out, because like I don't think the music on top of that aesthetic was particularly compelling. Like it just didn't sound good.
No, go back now, and I can tell you it's probably aged better than you think it has.
Okay, I'll do that.
I was about to say I'm fully sold. I'm going back. I need to re-listen to Cherry Bomb because I'm not even gonna hold you to it. Like I said, I thought it was his worst album. Yeah. But now that you said like you've listened to new Tyler, because like I said, he has two careers to me. Yeah. If you've listened to his second career and then Cherry Bomb, that's a very different experience.
Right, because you guys started like from the origin up. You guys started from like the origin up. I basically started from like the peak down.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah, this could be
That's very interesting.
But my thing is, and I'm going to re-listen to it, and I'll text you and tell you what I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll do that at some point this weekend. Yeah. Because spoiler alert, like when Igor has hit me a way that it never has before. I haven't heard it in years.
Yeah.
And re-listening to it for this episode, like it.
Yeah.
I really liked it. Like
I'm so excited.
I still remember where I was at.
I don't think it's my favorite of his album. I still really like Call Me If You Get Lost a lot.
Yeah,
Because I also think
yeah,
"Call Me If You Get Lost" is like almost like a fun, like tongue in cheek, like take on the entire hip hop industry.
yeah, for sure.
Uh, and I think this is like cool in its own story, and musically, it's incredible.
Call Me If You Get
But
Lost was like it was a great album in its concept.
yeah, it
Even with
was.
even with
Yeah,
DJ Drama, it was
no, it was fantastic.
yeah, it was the overall vision was great. It was amazing.
Ugh.
I'm glad you said what you said, Brandon, because I had to go back and listen to Igor myself, and like I don't even remember the last time I listened to this. It's been that long.
Yeah,
And I will say, like, I knew I remembered that I liked it, and I knew Tyler had came up on his second career and was making a name for him, or remaking, rebranding himself.
yeah,
And damn, this album,
it
like,
hits.
Yeah,
I forgot it was a love album. Like, it's
Yeah,
a
yeah,
love album, and
yeah.
I had to go through it, and I'm like, man, I'm feeling some of this stuff too hard right now. Like,
The
this is
Crazy
like
Love
a
album.
really
yeah,
good message.
yeah. It's a
And
fun.
I had to like,
I forgot like how
go ahead.
like good a lot of the songs just on like a songwriting level were. Like I, I think obviously Earthquake. Like I've listened to Earthquake like every couple of days for like since it's dropped. But like songs like Running Out of Time, Gone Gone, Thank You, I Don't
Yep.
Love You Anymore. Like those songs, like they're very musical. And
Yeah.
forgot like just how solid the songwriting is.
Yeah. It's
So
I remember the
It's
album was it was so crazy at the time of its conception that when Igor I remember where I was at when Igor's theme was teased. I
yeah,
remember where I was at when it
yep.
dropped. I remember the period of time of what I was going through when this album dropped.
mm.
It sonically, it was just it was different.
So can I take you guys on a walk real quick?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I What do you guys think about the little skits that are throughout the album? Like, what's your take on them? Like,
I cheated.
what do you think they're supposed to represent? Like,
What do you mean by I cheated?
Okay, so after I listened to the album today, I was so impressed. I was like, I need to do a deep dive. Like I researched a lot of stuff. The little skits, like the little phrases, apparently it's
Mhm,
from some comedian in
that's
track 3, 5, like 7 and
yeah.
something. Like
mhm.
there's so many tears in this album. So
So
that's why I said I cheated, because I
so
actually did some research.
this is the walk I wanted to go. You guys take you guys on, right? Because that comedian is Gerard Carmichael.
Love him.
He's a
He's
Okay,
great.
yeah.
and the thing that I find super interesting because I forgot he was on this album, and I've been a fan of his since I started doing comedy in 2016, and I completely forgot he was on this album. And the thing that was crazy to me is that earlier this year, right, Gerard Carmichael, out of nowhere, I mean, not out of nowhere because he had to have made it, but he dropped a comedy special called Rathaniel.
Yep.
And in that special, he came out. And I remember
Wait,
watching it.
who came out?
Gerard Carmichael, the comedian who's
Oh,
doing this
okay,
sketch,
okay.
he came out of the
Yeah.
closet in his special that came out this year, 2022.
Yeah, here's the thing.
Yeah. And I'm like, I remember when like watching it and being like, this is so similar to Flower Boy. Kind of like how, I'm Flower Boy. Like he kind of,
Conversation.
yeah, like he more or less comes out in that album, you know? And I'm wondering, like, do you think that that might be a factor in that? Like the fact that, you know, could this be an echo of the theme from Flower Boy?
For sure. For sure. Definitely. I think
Yeah.
so.
And I
Because
think
there's multiple themes in here that are not even just themes, but words and lyrics and ad libs that would say, yeah, definitely, for
yeah.
sure.
It's just such an interesting take. Like, just in general, the reoccurring theme, because this is what I kind of took away from the album. Obviously, everyone interprets it differently, but it is what makes this so unique to me. And I didn't answer the question earlier. I understand that it has only been 3 years, but when it has been long enough at the appropriate length, this is a classic to me. I'm sorry. Like
Yeah, that's way too
he,
lenient with the phrase classic for me.
I understand. Like I said, you make a good point. It's only been 3 years, and so like I said, I'll give it some more time to kind of settle in, see if I get the same impact in a couple of years, and maybe I'll officially title it. But I think it has the potential to me to be a classic
Yeah.
because the theme that stands out that makes it so unique. There's so many love albums out there and like impressions of how you fall in and out of love, but like this is so specific in a certain type of love, and it really dives into like a toxic love where you're in this state where like you're not fully committed and you like kind of on the fence, but you can't let go of somebody. Like it's the whole theme of the whole like album,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's such a interesting like dive of like how toxic love works.
Yeah.
It's so different.
Yeah. No, that's a very good argument, Purvis. That's a good argument. I'm not gonna front you. I do think though there is an argument that just kind of puts it to bed. Or
Okay.
not really. I think it draws a compromise.
Let's see.
No, it draws a compromise. That's what it is. Because when you said the phrase classic potential, then I was like, okay. Because my biggest argument against this being a classic is Tyler is young, dude. Like, think of how much more he has in him.
Yeah, that is very true.
Could we get to the point where we look back on his career from a farther step back, and Igor truly does rise above the rest? Yeah, and I think what you said is a really good argument for why it could. Right, so
right,
I give you
because the way I was thinking about it,
that's what I will compromise on is that it definitely could be a classic when it's all said and done. It's just not all said and done yet.
Right. Exactly.
That's
it's how we thought about Astroworld.
Yeah.
Like how you think about Astroworld. It's like this could be a classic, but there's so much more.
Yeah. I think maybe that's a good way to put it on because like, you know, I think ultimately, like, as good as this album is, it just hasn't completed the ultimate test of a classic, and that's the test of time. Right?
Mhm.
Like, it doesn't matter.
But it has all the qualifications, like the top tier quality of the songs, the range, the themes, the lyrics. Like, it's up there for me.
Sure. Like, it has high classic potential. I'll give you that. But I don't think it's to the level of a To Pimp a Butterfly, a To Blonde, where it's like a classic upon arrival.
Right.
And I just think, especially knowing how fast Tyler generally makes albums. I mean, for someone as thorough and genuinely very creative, he makes albums relatively quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, there was only a 3-year gap between Igor, or a 2-year gap between Igor and Call Me If You Get Lost, and there was a pandemic between them.
and it's quality enough to hold people over.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's why for me Igor is fighting like that third spot for me with Cherry Bomb as of right now. But I think they're parallel in that sense to where Igor could very well be like how I hold Cherry Bomb in the future because of Tyler's ability to output music so frequently.
Yeah.
Like because he has that time length, God willing, that he's able to make that music. Igor could very well replace Cherry Bomb just because of that sense that it could be like, oh, well, no, Igor was this change where it all came from. Like even if it was after Flower Boy, which is seemingly quote unquote the peak, this could just be another like progression, basically.
Yeah, I gotta give Flower Boy another re-listen too, because
I was about to touch on that.
Yeah, I gotta give Flower Boy another re-listen because I'll be honest, I don't want to say I didn't give it its respect because when Flower Boy came out, I listened to it and I was like, this is pretty good. Like I was like, I remember my reaction being like, okay, I can kind of forget Cherry Bomb now. Like, and then just kind of moving on. And then when Igor dropped, I listened to that, and then I listened to that for a while.
Yeah.
Like, so Igor and Call Me If You Get Lost have been really where Tyler has hit his stride for me personally. Not as just like
Yeah.
an artist, because like obviously I respect just like the fucking sheer creativity coming out of the guy.
He's been on a wave.
Yeah, he's been on a wave. Totally forgot about the Kanye West feature on Puppet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's that too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was that a feature or was that
Actually-
a sample?
That was no, that was a feature. That was indeed a feature. That was I believe because Tyler doesn't have a lot of features on this album.
No, he doesn't. And Kanye is on Tidal. Kanye is credited as a lyricist, so that leads me to believe it's a feature.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Actually, before it escaped my mind, Isaiah, I wanted to ask you a question because you mentioned it more than once now.
Okay.
So, Flower Boy is your peak, right? Or your opinion on what the peak is?
Yes.
Now, Brandon and I have had multiple discussions about this, and I know, and I do it subconsciously, and I can't lie about it. I do put emphasis on numbers, whether I like it or not.
Right.
If you look at streaming numbers, the reason I chose Igor is because it's one of the highest streaming ones. It's his most popular one. It's gathered the most attention.
Right.
Do you care about numbers at all? Does that affect your opinion on what is considered as peak?
No, not necessarily, and that's because how easily people could base numbers off of songs, those numbers could easily change.
Okay.
Those numbers could flip around completely. Like it's not because and especially because streaming is a thing now, the numbers won't ever stop. Especially if people are going to continue to listen to the music, like these numbers aren't going to go away. So then it becomes a term of then it becomes in terms of which one is worth the test of time or which one is going to back that up, basically.
Yeah.
And that's why for me, well, yeah, go ahead.
Like, who knows, like, which of his albums gets like a critical reevaluation in the future? You know, like this is like a silly example, but like, you know, Kate Bush had a song on the new Stranger Things season, and now her stuff is like all over the streaming chart. Who knows if some guy puts some song from Flower Boy in a movie, and that prompts the entire world to go back and listen to Flower Boy again as if it was brand new. You know, like, so that's an interesting thing you brought up with streaming, is that it's always going. Because at first I was like, and they flip, I don't know, that sounds a little sussy, but no, you were totally right. I wanted to congratulate you on that.
Thank you.
I was going to say that was a great insight. I didn't consider that before.
Yeah, neither
That's
did
a good way to think about it, because like it's streaming. It's always going to be there, and it's always going to be adding up.
Yeah, and also, Purvis, just to be clear, I do think there is something. No, I do think there is something interesting about talking about what album is more popular. Like, I don't think those numbers are worthless. I think there's something cool to talk about it. Right? I think it's
Okay.
I think it's interesting the contrast, like what's the most popular versus what's the best. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And like, because really it sets you up for a bunch of different quadrants, because sometimes the most popular is going to be the best. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes, you know, like, and it's going to be different, you know? So I do think like just talking about like, what's the numbers in terms of like it being representative of what people are listening to, I think there's something cool to talk about that in its own regard. But like, I would never be like, what's that? Igor has more streaming numbers than Call Me If You Get Lost. Guess I prefer horns to drums now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I just know I definitely put too much. I know I do. Like, that's a self like kind of reflection.
I don't think you do.
I put a lot of emphasis.
I don't think you do too much, but it's just certainly where your interest lies, and that's fine.
Yeah. And it also and another thing, like the numbers at a certain time could also, like you said, Brandon, the numbers at a certain time could also tell a lot about that specific sound. So if we really want to take it into like the nerd stuff, you could look at a graph over time and see the numbers over time and compare it to like other albums and stuff like that and base it off times. Like, okay, this number did more. Why? Because of, okay, maybe this just sounded better at that time. Well, now this album aged better. This other album aged better. So this one has the better streams. So like I said, it's all fluidity. It can get real deep, but it not you should put those stocks into the numbers, but be mindful of the times of when it is, if you do. That's all.
I agree. Guys, what are some of our favorite tracks in this album?
Oof.
I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say the unpopular one. I like Earthquake. I really do.
Oh man.
It's just
That's a crazy take.
It's like the most popular one. Like it's like the most ice cold take you can have. But I genuinely,
literally,
low key, I'm gonna say this. This might be interesting. I remember when it first came out, I thought the Playboy Cardi feature was really annoying.
Interesting.
And now I don't.
I'm not surprised to hear that.
But now I don't.
So funny.
Now I don't. Now I'm into it. Now it's like, oh, this is actually pretty sick. Like
it makes the song 10 times.
Yeah.
10
no,
times
I'm totally into it now. Like no, I love it.
Brandon, I need you to understand. I am still waiting for your Playboy Cardi face. I'm waiting for you,
dude. I'm 30. There's no Playboy Cardi face.
I'm waiting for you. I'm gonna be on the train at 7 in the morning. I'm gonna wait till my 9.
I'm going to be like, Vamp
You're
life.
just going to text me a lyric and I'm just going to smile. I'm just going to be so happy.
Vamp.
I'm going to be so happy. I'm like, man.
Whole lot of red. Like.
Man.
I'm hoping for it. That's all I can say. But obviously Earthquake is up there. I'm trying to think. Puppet was huge. I love every 10th song of any Travis Scott of any Tyler the Creator album. That like the whole concept of every 10th song being a split. Jesus Christ.
That's cool. I love that.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that's like up there with like the Pharrell Williams 4 beat, and you know it's him. Like you know that 10th song gonna be a split. Just I love that.
Yeah.
Man, I think for me it's gotta be either it's between New Magic Wand and What's Good. But I think it's gonna have to go with What's Good first.
Yeah.
Just because the overall sonics of that and the I don't know what it is, the bass. Oh man, it's something really about good. That one song is amazing.
Yeah, no, I can't hate you for that one. I also love Running Out of Time.
Running Out of Time is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's like really
I don't think there's any low points.
No, it doesn't. It definitely bobs and weaves between good and great, but there's no blow point.
And if you get the overall like plot of the album, listening to it all the way through it's one of those albums that you have to listen to all the way through if you get the plot.
Yeah.
If you don't, then it's perfectly fine if you just listen to individual tracks. But man, if that plot line to this album, it makes it it doesn't have any skips.
So, okay. I agree with you. First off, I agree no skips. Right? But I actually do kind of disagree in the sense that I thought the plot is, as much as I thought the music flowed, and this is an album I will definitely listen to in its entirety often, I thought the plot line was actually kind of like harder to parse than most concept albums with a plot line like this. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm not like saying this is like a thing to put down the album on. If anything, I think like it just makes you work for that.
Right.
And that makes it a little bit more satisfying. And I think it has the added benefit of having the songs play better like on their own. But like of course I'm not saying that plot's not there. It's certainly there. I just think it's a little bit denser than other concept albums.
Yeah, and it's because of and I think it's because you're given so much substance that it's like it's harder to see.
Yeah,
and it's definitely harder to see.
Yeah, and I definitely think like it's more in like the music and the production, which is all him, and the arrangements, right? I think that's the part that makes it so easy to just like go from song to song to song without hitting skip a single time.
Yeah.
Right. Like I don't think I looked at my phone to like even check to see what song I was on, let alone skip anything. Because I was just in it.
It was it was the flow that really made it worth the listen.
And that's the thing I remember from Flower Boy, and is certainly true of Igor and Call Me If You Get Lost, is the sequencing is unreal.
Yeah. I think that sequence is I think that's a little bit what you were talking about, that those tracks is what separates the sequences for me.
Yeah.
It's in those points where and a little bit of a switch in the lyrics as well. Like you notice it if you pay attention, you'll notice that the lyrics will switch back and forth from time to time throughout the sequences.
I agree. Well, we didn't do an entire like track list by track list deep dive, but
we are.
I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, this was a good one.
This was a lot. I mean, like Tyler's a hard nut, like a hard like not to parse.
Yeah.
You know, and like the other thing is that me and Purvis, we have the admiration and the respect for sure, but I don't know if we have the passion that you brought, and I think you need that. If you really want to get to the root of it, you need the critical eye, but you also need the passion. You
for sure.
You can't get anywhere without both. You know, it's like a bicycle.
Yeah.
All right, guys, do we want to do some recommendations?
Yes, sir. I was about to say.
For sure.
Right.
Y'all can go first. I gotta still look for mine. Well, at least one of them.
All right, I got one. It's gonna ruin the whole vibe. Let's do this.
Fucking hate you.
All right, so I
hate you so much.
So obviously thinking about Tyler. Obviously thinking about Tyler, right? I was thinking about like annoying internet music, and I dropped a hint that this was going to be an artist I recommended. And I'm going to be recommending "California Boy" by Lil B.
What in the fuck?
Dude, it's not even a rap song. It's like a Beach Boys style pop song about a girl he loves. But here's the thing, right? It sounds so compelling. You would not think that this was a rapper. Like, it is insane.
What is it called?
"California Boy" by Lil B.
I feel like I've heard this. I don't know why, but
it's fucking hilarious.
I don't.
It is.
It sounds so familiar.
It is hilarious.
Will I recognize it if I press play right now?
You will probably not think it's Lil B.
I hate you so much. All right, bro.
You're gonna be like, this is a white person. Like,
this does not come from me at all.
Okay.
I Isaiah, are you ready? Or do you want me to go?
I can go.
Go for it.
All right, so my first one, I'm gonna stick with who I mentioned earlier. I'm gonna go with "Taco" by IDK.
I
love me some IDK. Brandon, did I introduce you to him yet?
Not yet. Damn, after you listen to "California Boys."
Okay. Anyway, Brandon, I did sing you an artist actually recently, and when I send stuff like that, I only do it for like the people I highly recommend that are like brand new to me.
Yeah.
It is a female artist, I think from England. It's got like a nice British kind of grime feel to it, but there's an artist called Little Sims.
I've heard about her. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I sent you her album.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, bro! She killed it.
I have not listened to the album you sent me yet because I'm very busy, but I have heard of Little Sims before.
Bro,
she's very good.
I didn't know who she was, but man, I'm gonna go ahead and recommend "I Love You, I Hate You." Man, she killed it. That's all I can say. I am extremely impressed by Little Sims. That album was amazing. But Brandon, do you want to give your second?
Okay, I'll give my second one. This one's not a bummer. This one's kind of cool. So meditating on the idea of like internet artists and like that early 2010. I remember thinking about like this beat that was going around and like everybody like the same like I couldn't even think of them like fucking Sammy Adams, like the same group that like Mac Miller was a part of, that like he ascended out of, like those white rappers, and like other ones. I think Wiz Khalifa did a verse on this beat, and it had this sample, and it was called "I Need a Dollar," and it's by a soul singer called Aloe Black, Aloee, and
Oh, yeah.
he's kind of like Starbucks soul, but like like I think it's a great song. And it's like a very like modern feeling, like classic soul song. So I remember hunting it down after hearing the hook of the song used in all these beats, like in the Dat Piff era. And I just listened to it every once in a while ever since, because I've been poor often. And I've needed a dollar very badly, pretty frequently, and pretty recently.
Yes. Yes.
Isaiah, would you like to do your next one?
My next one is going to be Lost Ones by Miss Lauryn Hill.
Ooh.
Made it possible for me to even get the hip hop and R&B jeans. That's from the parents.
Yeah. Dude, Lauryn Hill's so fucking good.
She's great, man. Legendary.
Hard cut real quick. Purvis, are you there?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that.
Okay. Did you hear Isaiah's...
I had muted my mic because I started coughing. Yes, I literally... It's funny that you said that because I heard Lauryn Hill, but I didn't hear the song.
It was Lost Ones.
Lost Ones. No, I got you. Yeah. I muted myself because I started dying.
Thank you for dealing with Purvis's bronchitis. Like,
no, it's cool. I was low key dealing with mine like all throughout this episode, so sorry for any cuts you have to do.
No, it's fine.
No, you're fine. Honestly,
that's fine. That's fine.
This is all a part of it.
Cool.
Purvis, end us off strong.
All right. I think it's strong. I just got into FKA Twigs. I didn't know who it was previously, but I listened to a new album, and Meta Angel is a banger. I'm gonna go back and listen to all of the music.
Ooh.
I didn't know like it was as good, if I'm being honest.
There you go.
Interessante.
So,
I'm gonna see what's in Spanish. Oh my god!
I hate you so much.
No, you don't. Like, literally not true. Like, all right. Whatever. Isaiah, loved having you on the show.
It was great being here, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna have to bring you back on. We'll do some other shit.
For sure. Anytime you guys. Yeah. Anytime you guys need.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Question. Oh shit! What's going on?
No, I was gonna say, like, we're at the end. Do you want to plug anything?
Oh yeah, you got anything to plug?
Honestly, just my Instagram at empath 3mpath_. Just keep an eye out for any new music that might drop. It's probably gonna drop on there. Snippets are on there. That's really all I got.
We'll make sure to put that in the Instagram too, or in the not the Instagram, the description, right at the bottom. Press down, info, more info. Like,
thank you.
I'm gonna add it on an Instagram post. I got you.
Yeah, we'll tag you and everything.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
Right down here.
Well, that was the show this week.